Architecture's about, you have to go to school and have an accredited degree. That was my 4 years plus my 2 years. Then you have to work for somebody for about 3 years. Anybody ever heard the term apprentice? You ever heard that before? So we have to apprentice for 3 years. And then we have to take a test in order to become an architect. So there's a lot to learn about architecture. It's got a lot about being absorbed to the things around you because it involves a lot of things. So you end up, it's one of my favorite pictures. Anybody know who the guy in the middle is? Frank Lloyd Wright. So this is the old school of apprenticeship where there's an expert and everybody helps him out to do his stuff, and by being surrounded by him, they learn what he knows, and you can learn the things that you need to know after school, because school doesn't teach you everything. This is a little scary. This is the current exams to be an architect. It's this, let's see, was that six different sections, and this is somebody who's taken them all and passed. I didn't know this, but this is the pass rate for taking the exams. 51%, 62%, 53%. Anybody think it's easy? Anybody think that's easy at all? No, it's not. Back when I took the exams, it was 2001, I think. I had to take 9 exams. Now they've consolidated it down to 6. They keep changing. So I became an architect. That's my seal. That's the Arizona seal. It was the first state that I was licensed in. That was 2001. And I was really excited because that was 4 years of school, another 2 years of school, 3 years of internship or apprenticeship, and then taking 9 exams to pass. So I went to worked for a bunch of firms here in town, done a bunch of different projects, even worked for my own. I had my own firm for a while, did some fun stuff there. And by what I was doing in my career, I actually got licensed everywhere. So I'm a little unique. I have 52 architectural licenses. I have all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and the District of Columbia. So I am now working for a big firm called WARE MALCOMB. It was created by Mr. Ware and Mr. Malcolm. They both first names were Bill Ware and Bill Malcolm. Mr. Ware still lives in Prescott. He's retired, but he lives here in Arizona now. And we have a lot of people. So I run a firm of 20 people here in town. I lead that office as the lead architect. We have interior designers and civil engineers also in my office of 20. And what I'd like to point out is architecture is all different people, all different colors, races, backgrounds, expertise. Our particular company has people in Turkey that work for us regularly, from Mexico, Canada, all over. So we're very different, very diverse. And here's my little dot, and as you can see, there's 23 other dots, and we seem to keep adding them. Mexico's kind of interesting, and we have Toronto as well, and even Panama. We have an office down in Panama. So it's kind of an interesting firm. We get to do a lot of things. We have a lot of people. I put this slide up here just to link back to Legos, obviously, but the point is there's all different avenues and angles of things you can do in architecture. I'm going to start out with some fun stuff, show you some things I've done. Like I said, I'm going to just keep moving through this so we can get to questions. Some of the best things I've done have been the things I've done really quick, when I'm not worried about things, when I'm not like engrossed. How do I fix this? Hey, I'm just going to draw a picture of a lodge for somebody that wanted something up in Payson. That's a fun little sketch. It pretty much tells you everything you need to know. We're going to have double columns and some block down here, metal roof, nice big entry, big sign up front. It pretty much tells you what you need. Everything else I'm doing after that is all technical and involved and trying to realize it. I think I did this one in 5-10 minutes. It was a golf clubhouse. Never got built, but it was just, you kind of come up with ideas. So that's the fun part of the business. We can just kind of throw ideas out there and see what they're like, not judge them. And I find that some of the ideas I've thrown out there have kind of stayed. The other good thing is I get paid to color sometimes. So I literally get paid to just color pictures. This is one that's actually I'm working on right now. It's a house for a friend of mine. So we now work in 3D instead and in the computers, not so much by hand. This is one that's under construction. And these aren't super polished images, but show you some of the kind of fun we have. Here's a house that's already built. And here's one that's at the top of the mountain that's already built. So we've done some crazy things. This house right here changes 33 feet from the top to the bottom. So I had to figure out how to get that whole thing to work out, and they had to dig out the hill and all that kinds of stuff. That was a lot of the residential work I did, which was fun because everybody was different. It was fun to do things for different people because people wanted different types of houses, or they wanted the kitchen here or over there. Back in my commercial career, I've been fortunate to work on some fun things. We rebranded Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't think there's any in the state of Arizona that are like this, but we recreated their entire building. And we did some really cool appliance stores that were real fancy. Did a real interesting restaurant. This one's in Las Vegas. We hang ropes from the ceiling around the central area.
What's the restaurant called?
Javier's.
I think I've seen it before. We go to Vegas a lot.
Yeah, it's in the Aria Hotel.
Yeah.
Did Flower Child, that's up at 90th and Shea, put a Jimmy John's in the back end of it. It used to be an Applebee's. The Applebee's went out. We had to change it into something interesting. That one's in Santa Monica. That's a True Food Kitchen. This is a window factory here in town. They make all these windows. It's called Western Windows. And I got to detail out that whole stair, make a custom stair, and we put a game room, fun room in the middle of their office. And they love it. I do a lot of site planning. This is North Scottsdale. We're talking about doing sort of a Kierland place, but a place to store custom cars, basically an auto auction, Barrett Jackson type car storage. We did the Audi on North Scottsdale. So we do a lot of retail buildings. This is a project in Colorado that we might be starting here shortly. And I'm going to take this a little different into some area that you might think is boring, but I want to point it out for a reason. We do million square foot buildings, gigantic warehouses, some of the ones similar to things you drive by out here. And what's really interesting nowadays, when you want to buy something, whether it's the new version of Call of Duty or your new iPhone or whatever, it gets made in a manufacturing facility, but it gets sent to a distribution facility. You see all the trucks driving around, and the ability to get them in and out of there and into your pocket is what, everybody knows what Amazon's doing, trying to get it to you as fast as you can. We do Amazons, we do warehouses, we do Macy's, Marshalls, all that stuff you buy in the store has to go through warehouses. This is a warehouse we just started under construction on the west side. Nowadays, we're making them look better. We're putting amenities on them so people can play and have a nice place to have lunch around them. They're not so much big boxes anymore, but here is a big box. This is the Marshalls in South Phoenix. It's a gigantic warehouse full of all kinds of equipment, and all it's doing is storing all the stuff that you see at a Marshall store. Clothing, furniture, beauty products, whatever, pillows. And we have this real tall area. It's one of the tallest walls built like this in Arizona, where they store all the goods and push them around on machinery. That's what it looks like inside before they put all the stuff in it. Those are all the bins. So you can see they're just heavy, heavy duty storage facilities. That's what an Amazon looks like, if you've ever been in one. These are all the racks in the back where they're storing stuff. There's all these mezzanines where they're sorting everything, and they come down to the people packing and putting in the boxes that shows up at your front door. It's a huge, huge business. So our company, who's a leader in all this, and the business is growing because there's not as much stores anymore. The stores are now online and on your computer. Once again, I got some Legos to think about using things in different ways. So we came up with a concept nationally. We call it the multi-level warehouse, and this is kind of an exploded version. But basically, you have warehouses that have multiple levels, and it's in the middle of the city, and you can see drone deliveries and truck deliveries and all that kind of thing. So we've become really known for that. This is a boring slide that we show our people, but everything's talking about delivering stuff in 1 hour and getting it out of the facility, and there's even food pickup. Everybody heard of all the food pickup? Anybody can name any of them?
DoorDash.
Yeah, exactly. So now the restaurants have figured out, hey, we got people that we can just deliver food to. Did you know there's places like Panera and Taco Bell? There's no restaurant, there's just a place creating food. And there's all these cars that come up and grab the food and go out and deliver it to everybody. So the whole world's changing, how stuff is getting delivered to the people.
Yeah.
So we have a nice slide about Back to the Future. Back in the day, warehouses were in the middle of the city. That's New York City. It's obviously a sketch back then, but everything was together. These days, those big warehouses I showed you, they're out at the outskirts of the city. We can't build them that big in the city because we need all the land, as you might guess. So this new concept I was talking about, here's a slice through one of them. So it's near a port where all the goods are coming in. We have all the storage on the first level where the trucks come in and they take the stuff off the trucks, they put them up and down the elevators, and they can store them on each floors. And they do it again on the second level. We got the trucks driving up to a third floor, which is a big deal. In between those floors, we have a regular parking garage for all the people that work there. And then above it, we got a whole nother layer of storage, and they're driving heavy duty forklifts up there. This can be done. We're doing this in Brooklyn right now. This is the Brooklyn project. So it's actually a big deal to take these tractor trailers that are really heavy and really long and get them up to the extra levels. You can see this one's right next to New York City. And I won't bore you with all this, but the reason it's fascinating is it's a giant puzzle. So what I do every day is basically solving puzzles. So here's one of those big buildings we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure we can get the trucks around it, get them loading, maximize it, make it as big as we can, stack it, figure out how everything goes, and in the meantime, make it as affordable as possible. That's kind of amazing stuff when we're just talking about giant boxes that store things. I always am amazed at the other things that are out there. If I knew being a Lego artist was a profession, I probably would have done it instead of what I'm doing now. But the point of this, to show some of the fun pictures, is, you know, all these little pieces, it's a brick or something similar to a brick of Lego, and they actually use computers to figure out how to do these. But the point is, it's just down to that one little unit. And that's the same thing I'm doing as an architect when we build buildings. You have these pieces and units, and you put it together, and you can make it happen and turn it into something interesting. Almost done. So how do I architect? What is it, just an example of what I do? Someone calls us and says, hey, we have this piece of dirt. This one's up by anybody know where the aquarium is up in Middle Scottsdale? It's just right down here. And on the corner, they just opened White Castle down here. There's still traffic police telling everybody where to go there today. Anyways, this is a site. Someone said, hey, we got this site. We want to put something on it. What can you do? We take a look at it. This is a survey. We go hire a surveyor to go out there. You can see these little lines. These are showing us, hey, the dirt's getting lower, so the water's going to go down this way. And we kind of evaluate the site, make sure there's no power lines running through it or other things. And then we come up with a concept. So this is me sketching a concept. They said, hey, we want a medical office building. We want a place where all the doctors can have their offices. And we want a parking garage. So we lay it out, see how many parking spaces we can get. We look up the city codes and make sure we're putting everything in the way it needs to be done for the city to be happy about it. We start planning for things like truck deliveries and trash pickup and accessible entrance, and for people coming out in wheelchairs that get service, for them to have a place, and a little space extra for a garden. Then we figure out the building and we say, hey, we need stairs. We need places for the air conditioning to go up and down. We need elevators. It's a medical building. We don't build a lot of bathrooms. We just put a few in because each suite will have its own. We have a parking garage down here, so we need to be able to walk through, and we need to be able to get back here for some other offices. This is what your building lays out. We go over the square footage. They decide that they can build it, and that's what they want. We make it all detailed, draw some technical plans, make sure the fire trucks can get in and out, make sure the trash can be picked up, make sure the access points are good. We started drawing our little garden there, made sure the parking garage was buildable and next to it. Then we have our landscape architects come in and we coordinate them and say, hey, this is what we want. We want you to do something cool down here. Give me some nice plantings around the building, and they have to do everything the city requires. And then we have our civil engineers who come in, and we're actually storing water when it rains. We're putting water in giant pipes underground to make sure we can make this site as big as we can. We continue our concept. We draw out an elevation to see what it looks like. We do some sun studies, some angle studies to make sure the windows are shaded and we're getting the best performance out of the building. Then we do some pretty pictures. Everybody loves the pretty pictures. 2 slides away from being done, so soak it in. But the point is, we look at doing some masonry down here and making it striped and cool, and we're doing a metal wrap over here. We're shading all the windows, which is a requirement where this one is. They don't want any windows that aren't shaded. And we're trying to make it affordable. Right now, they're telling me this is the most expensive medical office building in town, so we're trying to make it a little cheaper. And that's what it looks like from the other side. And I still love Legos. That one sits on my desk every day. It holds my business cards. It's my little low-level 1-story house that I just created, and just reminds me of where I came from.
That's cool.
So, was that cool or was that boring?
No.
Pretty interesting. I think it's interesting.
Any questions about what I do?